tonight.
Wiped clean. DOJ lawyers admitting that the BlackBerry of the IRS Lois Lerner was not wiped clean until after a congressional investigation of the IRS targeting was already underway. And that's not all. And House Oversight Committee member Representative Jim Jordan joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good to be with you, Greta.
Well, there are two big issues tonight. First of all is what the commissioner knew about the emails, because I understand now, is it your understanding that her emails are now recoverable?
Yep. The Inspector General's reported that there may be as many as 9 tapes that are recoverable. Remember what John Koskinen said under oath in front of our committee. He said he can confirm that the emails were lost and they couldn't be retrieved. And then we now subsequently learned that, yes, in fact, they may be able to be retrieved. We may be able to get those. So you got that information. And thank goodness for Judicial Watch and what they're doing as well to push on this issue and help us get some of the information that the IRS has been slow to turn over to our congressional committee.
Well, first, there's the whole idea of thwarting Congress and trying to do its oversight job. That's one aspect when they don't respond correctly and fully and thoroughly. I mean, that's very disturbing. The fact that you've got to have a private group go to court to do the Congress's work because the IRS won't cooperate.
Yep.
But let me read you.
Yep.
June 23rd, 2014, House oversight from a Democratic member of Congress named Horsford. He says, Commissioner of the IRS Koskinen, do you share the belief that every effort was made to provide this committee and others with those emails that you were able to recover? I do. Every effort was made? That's it?
Yeah. Well, and we now know that's not true. We also knew that when he discovered that they had lost some of them, he waited 2 months to tell us. I mean, every time John Koskinen comes in front of the committee, he says something, and then we subsequently learned that he wasn't being straight with us, he wasn't being clear with us, he wasn't being straightforward, and that's why we continue to dig to try to get to the truth on this, this fundamental issue where people's First Amendment rights were targeted, Greta.
Well, the irony is that there's been a request that he send this to the FBI for an investigation, that the DOJ, that Attorney General Eric Holder appoint a special prosecutor. President Obama said that there isn't a smidgen of corruption, although now we're in August of 2014 still trying to get information. But on June 23rd, 2014, when Koskinen, the head of the IRS, was asked about calling the FBI, he got all huffy and says, I reject the suggestion that my integrity depends on my calling the FBI. It's not his integrity, just do it. He won't do the job.
No, it's your duty. You have a duty to disclose. This was the questioning we had with him where we said, your chief counsel knew in February, you knew in April of this year, and you didn't tell Congress until June 13th. Why did you wait so long? If a private citizen's under investigation, they lose important information, they can't wait 2 minutes to disclose that to the FBI or to the Justice Department like he did. So it's not about his integrity, it's about his duty. Remember, he was the hand-picked guy of the president to come in and clean up this organization, to clean up this mess. And this is the kind of response we get. And now we learned today, as you started with, we learned that Ms. Lerner's BlackBerry was wiped clean after we had started to inquire about this whole thing.
All right. Is this, are we now at the point where this is a cover-up? I mean, is that your view of this? I mean, it gets a little bit funny when when all this information, when you can't do your oversight, it takes a federal judge or not. Is this they're inept, overwhelmed, or covering up? Where is this on the spectrum?
It's certainly suspicious. I mean, let's go to the 2012, the latest information we learned, Greta. June of 2012, her BlackBerry's wiped clean. The IRS says, well, that's just the normal course of duty. But what I know is, I always look at the timeline. Prior to that, we'd had numerous letters that the committee had sent to the IRS inquiring about potential targeting. We had brought Lois Lerner in. Our personal staff in our office and committee staff sat down and asked her. We confronted her. We said, is targeting going on? We'd heard from groups in Ohio. We'd heard from groups around the country. Is targeting going on? She lied to us and said, no, this is the normal course of how we determine whether someone gets C4 status. So then a few months later, they wipe her BlackBerry clean. So all I know is it sure looks suspicious when you follow the timeline. And frankly, this entire ordeal, all kinds of suspicious and ridiculous things take place when you look at the timeline, like Mr. Koskinen not disclosing for 2 months when he should have. So on and on it goes. At some point, we have to have a special prosecutor. Even 26 Democrats say we need that. Mr. Holder, appoint a special prosecutor.
Well, but there actually is an effort to undermine Congress to do its oversight. I don't know what happens when you do your oversight, what information you get, whether it helps the IRS, helps her, or whatnot, but you still have to be able to do your job. And you're obviously not able to do your job when they're thwarting you and when a private organization like Judicial Watch is the one that has to do Congress's job because the IRS won't help.
I agree, Greta. We've had subpoenas out to the IRS for over a year, and some of the documents we didn't get until Judicial Watch does a Freedom of Information request. That's ridiculous, but that's the kind of treatment we've been getting from them. We just have to keep pushing. But at some point, I hope the pressure is enough that Eric Holder will say, look, with Barbara Bosterman, with everything else that's going on, we have to have a special prosecutor.
Well, Congressman, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.